Hello, everybody. We are live. Thank you so much for joining us and joining me. I'm Ching Juhl, Juhl Media. I host this conversation with someone special once a week. Today, I am so happy to see Changfu Chen, a film director and also head of the MYSFI organization, and they are a educational nonprofit and uh, helping young people to learn how to use camera to tell stories. So thank you so much, Changfu, and go ahead, introduce yourself, please.
Thank you so much, Qin, for this amazing opportunity. I really mean it. We have been looking for a person like you to help us. I'm Changfu Chan. I've been doing documentaries for almost 3 decades, and I stumbled on this opportunity this summer to lead a great team to do something special. We are My Spy. Now, on behalf of My Spy, I want to again thank you, Chin, and thank the rest of us to be here, to be part of a great moment. For those of you who are not familiar with My Spy, it is Multicultural Youth Storytelling Film Institute. Here, we create opportunities for members of community, particularly minority members, to tell our stories, share our experiences to create a better, inclusive community. And in the process, we empower ourselves and to find our voice. Is that neat? It's
Wonderful,
amazing.
wonderful.
And I would like to, take this opportunity to thank Howard County. It, its innovation grant makes it possible for us to embark upon this ambitious project. And I would like to thank so many young participants and their families and many members of the community to be so supportive, so enthusiastic about this project. Today, we are so happy to have Chin. Thank you, Chin, because we have been conducting workshops to tell stories. And as you know, most of our like participants will use cell phones. And you are the expert of doing like film, telling stories using cell phones. I don't see another person in our documentary world who has utilized this technology to the highest level of professional arena, right? Doing a major documentary on Young Gun campaigns diary, and went all the way to film festivals, getting awards. So we are truly blessed. And today I like to quickly introduce our team here. Our team, the SPY, very talented, very passionate. In the next 20, 30 minutes or so, we are going to ask you some questions on behalf of our students to serve our pedagogical needs. And afterwards, we open the floor for our members, our participants to ask you specific questions. Thank you.
Great, great. Thank you, thank you. Yeah. So, how about where should we start first? Tell me, Xinge.
I'm really honored to be the first one to start, hopefully a bombardment of questions thrown at you, Ching. You're such a jewel of this community that wants to tell stories about our experience and the experiences of similar people in our communities. And I guess I want to just get you started on an overview of how you started using smartphones to actually film I think it's a campaign, right? A presidential campaign. Maybe tell us how how this idea came to you. We talk about production concepts in our classes, Did you start out thinking about that, or did you kind of naturally just grew into that story?
Very good question, Tinga. Thank you so much. Um, well, I have been fiddling around video cameras for a long time. For a long time. So starting 2015, I because I have iPhone. I think of those days iPhone 6. Okay, I started iPhone 4. So by the time of 2015, I was traveling a lot, go to China. So obviously, I love to shoot all the time. I capture people cooking. I capture people on the street doing Chinese martial arts. To me, everything is interesting. So I would not carry a big camera or any camcorder to go on street to film like that. So my style is very journalistic capturing, and everything is interesting to me. So so I start to use a smartphone. Once I use smartphone, it is really very difficult to go back. Like a Changfu carries this really, black magic or whatever, red magic or whatever. It's so heavy, and I'm a one women band, so I start to shoot a lot of a protest in New York. There's a Black Lives protest. I went to shoot 3 times. I made short videos of that, and I always am interested in street musicians and other stuff. So 2019, I was sucked into the movement of Andrew Yang campaign, and I was very moved by people. Witnessed people camping voluntarily and very passionate for this Chinese American Chinese, if you will. And I didn't understand. I know nothing about politics. I know nothing about campaign, but I was just fascinated. So I kept shooting with my smartphone and iPhone 11 those days. There's my iPhone 11. That's my iPhone 11. Yeah, and I just kept shooting and shooting. I did not think I was making a documentary. I was just each event I went, I shoot, I made a video. Then I must have went 50, 100, different events, big or small, and went to 12 different cities. So my story of making this my Yangon diary is it's not very kind of a traditional. It's kind of the baby came out like kind of strangely
Unplanned, almost. Yeah.
unplanned. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So did I answer your question?
Oh, absolutely. Great start. Yeah, yeah. So at what point did you decide this is becoming something?
Well, I just kept shooting and kept shooting, and then I did not realize the campaign ended so soon. Which is it only I was in I was in Iowa in January campaigning, and in February in New Hampshire, and February 11th, NGN already called the suspending a campaign. It was heartbroken because I was ready to go to Nevada, go to North Carolina. It's like I never had so much passion for anything in my whole life. I don't know. So uh, pandemic came March 2020. Remember? So I sat home and have very little sort of motivation to do anything. I'm not seeing anyone, and I started this program like a conversation with so and so. So now I've done 180, I don't know, 7 episodes of interviewing people. So in the meantime, I was just contemplating, thinking and thinking. I have so much material. I have 200 hours of the material about NGN, and people supported him. So I started to slowly line them up. Actually, I don't know about you, Changfu. When I did this one or some other work, I label everything on index cards, like according to time and dates. And then I would just line up the index on the floor, just like that's my first cut.
I actually laughed when you told me. Wow. This was like you took us back to the last century. But it worked very well.
Yeah, yeah. Because electronically is too much information. I couldn't handle. So I have to say the silver lining of pandemic is that I had a lot of time, so it makes me focus on this project. If we would if Indians still kept go on, right, and then go on, and then probably I wouldn't sit down and look over all the materials, and it took me 8 months to
Wow.
do the whole thing.
Yeah. And lots of, iterations of building it and taking it apart and kind of just reslicing everything
Yeah,
post production. Yeah.
yeah. I think what I could tell you, one thing is I decided title very soon after I watched everything. I call it my young gun diary because it gives me a how to say it, a outline. How am I going to tell story? It's a diary. Okay, so it's a location and date, location, date, because so many locations, so many dates. So of course I do not including every single thing, right? That would be too boring. So sometimes I go back and forth, sometimes I go, remember the past. So yeah. And I think storytelling is that you really have to think about who you want to touch, um, your audience. When you tell a story, you have to think about who is your audience. Yeah, if you make a video about a hairdresser, right? How this hairdresser cuts the hair so good, so then you have to think about who you want to reach. Is it a older generation or is it younger generation? Is it a person like cuts hair like a really wacko, and then probably the people watch it, it's probably younger generation, right? More current. So I have to constantly thinking, who am I supposed to reach? Yeah. So yeah, think about your audience.
Great.
Let me,
So,
sorry, let me chime in quickly here, right? And for our students and for the members and the community. So when Ching told about that, she came to this title, Young Gang Diary, and then she knew she's going to document the uh, the activities on a daily basis, but with a focus on certain areas, right? That actually is a good production concept. Now she knew that how you're going to do that, and then instead of just identify a few characters, following these characters, rather this is not what are the scenes you're going to shoot, right? This is a very important thing we talk about it. Once you have this production concept, you know, namely how to do it, that can dictate very well, right? How you're going to shoot and what questions you're going to ask. Great, thanks. Make sense, Chin?
Thank you. Make a lot of sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, let me pass it on to my team member, Ali, and she will approach it from more of a technical perspective.
Hi, Ellie.
Hi, and thanks again just for having us on. Really honored to be here. So I think what we're learning right now, we're going through a lot of equipment. And something that has also been new to me is learning like the iPhone side of things, iPhone filming. And I think that might be, a new horizon, which is really exciting. So if you could just kind of walk us through maybe a list of things that you use when filming, maybe a set for like interview and then also B-roll, if that differs at all.
Okay, equipment. Yeah, the first thing is that you need to have a phone.
Yeah.
I The reason I really like using smartphone is, I have a joke. I say we don't take our husband, wife, or loved one with us all the time, but we always carry our phone. So it's a phone. It's very accessible, and it's small and it's light. That is why there's there we should utilize phone more. So you need to have a phone, and I only use iPhone. I'm not endorsing iPhone, but I only use iPhone then because I'm an Apple person. So I've been using iPhone since iPhone 4. Now I have iPhone 12. I think iPhone 11. That's what I used to shoot the film, my Yagan Diary. Occasionally, I will carry iPhone 10 because I did not get rid of iPhone 10 when I had iPhone 11. So That's just my style. I think it's not a bad idea to keep your old phone, even doesn't have a service. You can use it as a backup. You can use it to shoot b-roll. You can even use it to like store footage if you want to. So I have two phones. And very important, I think, you need to have either you are a super stabilizer yourself. You need to have a tripod. So I'm not sure, you when you go out to shoot, are you shooting a narrative film or documentary? What is most of your students do?
I would say most of it is, at least the ideas right now are documentary.
Okay.
That's kind of what we're centered around. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
interviews and B-roll.
Oh, okay. So uh equipment wise, I use a very, I'll show you. If you go into my Instagram, right? And Instagram, and the handle is Jewel Media. And in my Instagram, there is an area you call smartphone. It's called highlight. So in the very last highlight is all my equipment I listed there. I also give you an equipment list also. So for instance, one very good thing to have is a rig. This thing, a rig, yeah. And the rig is that you can put your phone right here. Yeah, yeah, it's very good, and it's very light. And then you can put lights on top. Like say I have the this is a very good light. It's a little bit pricey than others, so I can clip the slide or clip here, right? And then I can have microphone on here if I want to. Yeah. So rig is very good. It's only $20. So this rig is ULANZI. Yeah. And other equipment is tripod. I use this tripod. I really like it. It doesn't have a head. It doesn't have a fluid head. If you want to panning, it's not like typical video tripod. It's more like just a safe stabilizer. If you want to just shoot one shot without panning around, yeah. The reason I like it is because it's very light. Yeah, it has four extension legs. It doesn't go like super high, but still it's so light. I can put it in my backpack. And the head is interesting. Don't ever lose something, okay, like this. Let me take the phone down. Um, don't ever lose this pin, because this pin goes to here, right? When I'm in a hurry, I go there. Whoop, hurry. Um, when I'm in a hurry, I'm one person band, right? Remember? So I don't have time. So I click. So that's on. Okay. So I don't have to like you know, uh, use a screwdriver to make this. So this is a really good. And then you can do vertical. So here has I can unplug, unscrew this, right? And then I make to here, right? Then I can do vertical. I can do what do you call it? TikTok or vertical. So these are things. And then another thing is, um, I'll show you. Another thing is, kind of, this is like a guerrilla way of filming. Changfu is gonna laugh at me again. And this is uh, a selfie sticker. I'm really bright here, huh? So this is a selfie stick. Yeah, it goes when I pull this up, right? And there's a feed. The bottom feed will open, okay? And this go pretty high. Yeah. So this is good. Sometimes if you want to do selfie, you can film it yourself. If you say you're doing a bicycle, you bike from here to there, you want to shoot yourself, you set up this, yeah, in the outside, and you can go there. Yeah. So you can create these shots without another person's. And also for protesting, right? because I am not that tall. Even if I'm tall, you cannot see the whole like 1,000 people, right? Front and back. So I will hold my selfie stick, shoot from one direction, and then I turn around, shoot another direction. So it's very helpful to have a selfie because if you have a very heavy tripod, like 10 pound, I couldn't hold the tripod, yeah, and I can hold that tripod, yeah, that that among, what do you call that? What do you call this Mon Monfrito? That's pretty famous, right? Italian.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Manfrotto. Yeah.
Monfrito.
Yeah, our students would recognize the equipment because we actually followed your list. And we provided them with their rig and with a tripod.
Oh my
Yesterday,
God.
they were fiddling with them, and
Oh my
many
God.
were lost with the
Yeah.
tripod's little screw.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
but
It's
having
quicker.
fun with it.
Just don't
Yeah.
lose it.
Mhm.
So Ali was talking about B-roll. B-roll is something sometimes we neglect to shoot, right? Changfu, even as a film, filmmaker, professional. So you have to uh when you, I don't know what kind of project you have, okay? So can students, someone tell me, like, are you making a video or film, whichever you call, what is about? Then I can give you a scenario, what kind of a b-roll you should shoot. Anybody? Hi, Jonathan.
Hello. Hi.
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 Do you-
So
yeah, tell me about your
Yeah.
project.
yeah, so we're kind of still in like the planning stage, but what we plan to do is I think we're making a film about, we think about addiction. So like we're thinking of interviewing potentially some police officers and also people who've gone through treatment. So
Okay.
that's our plan right now. And
Oh,
I'm
okay.
working with Akshay if that helps.
So you guys are making one project, or everyone has your own project?
It's like groups.
Oh.
Yeah, we have about 8 to 9 teams, each working on the different topic of their choice.
Uh-huh.
So some students will be focusing on maybe directing and writing, researching. Other students may be doing camera or sound post production.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's wonderful that we have kind of a hodgepodge of different approaches from
Yeah.
every group. Some may be doing interviews, others may not,
Yeah.
do that at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you're telling a story based on interviewing people who are suffering from mental health. Is that what you say?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So I would say when you interview someone, that would be A role, right? Then many things is belong to B role. So I would say you want, depending where they are, if they are in institution, you want to maybe shoot a little bit of the facility, not necessarily show. It all depends on location, if you have permission to film. So if they don't want to expose their permission, you can just show like some kind of a hospital room or a recovery room, or a medical device. Those are all b-roll. And if the nurse is nice enough, or care family member, get some of shot of those people. Those are these all can help you to tell the story later on. And a lot of time when you interview someone, right, and they talk for 20 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes, when you listen to these later, you'll like be yourself. So I don't have that visual element, so maybe you can do interview, and I don't think sometimes you have luxurious to go back to shoot b-roll after you listen. So you have to come up with a shot list, and then to think about what kind of b-roll. Even sometimes when someone talks, if they're like really animating, just shoot their hands, yeah, and then that can also cut in later, yeah. If you go to someone's house, shoot some of the memorabilia. When they talk about their family, maybe you can ask permission to have a picture of the family. If they have a pet, maybe you can shot the pet. all these B-roll, you don't have to shoot long. Like 5 seconds to 10 seconds will save your life. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Yeah. Anybody else? Oh, Ali, do you have more questions? Did I answer everything?
Yeah, that was great. I had another question actually when you're talking about lighting. So what we've been talking or teaching our students about is like the 3-point lighting setup. So we have like fill light, hair light, backlight. So do you do the same kind of process for when you're filming on iPhone, or is it a little bit different? Because I know you said that sometimes you'll like clip the light on the rig. So how does that look for you when doing like an interview?
Yeah. If you have luxuries, like have a stabilized position, then like in my apartment, I have a backdrop. I can pull the backdrop down and then cover all the junk behind it, and then I can have a 3 light interview style. And in on the field, I don't have always that kind of luxuries. Like I interviewed almost 50 young men. Sorry, I dropped my button. During the 9 month, 11 month of filming, I just utilize a lot of natural light. I set them near the window. I set them near whatever lighting source they have, and usually you can always make sure when you have this frame, right, horizontal, make sure you shoot horizontal. Unless you do TikTok, you could do this way, or Instagram reel. But you always make third. So you set your camera, there's a what do you call, grid. Set the grid. So when we can talk about setting, okay, I can go through with your setting. And when you interview someone, right, say right now, Changfu is here, right? And if his head looks this direction, I will have put him over here, right? 1/3. And then also this way, I'll put him somewhere that like that, not like his head all the way to the top. So if Changfu is right here, and then it will be better to look over there to talk. And then one of the way of interview is um, typically you do not have the interviewee to talk to the camera. Typically it's looking aside and talking to the filmmaker over there, or interviewer. It's more natural, I think. I think being sensitive of lighting situation, if you don't have always planned or in the studio situation, and you just have to practice. Don't go out to shoot in the sun, right? Don't go out shoot 12 noon in the sun. That's really bad lighting. The best lighting I like to shoot is 1 hour before sunset, and if you want to use the natural light. And right now, my natural light is a little bit overexposed right now. It's from my window. Yeah, very bright. So, and then I actually bought I bought something lately. It comes with a really great, but I have to show you. I have to go over there, okay? I'll show you. Okay, sorry about that. So speaking of lighting, I just recently got this long thing. It's called KDD-057. It's called Multifunctional LED magnetic lamp. Okay, so it's really cheap. It's like, I don't know, $27. So this lamp, right? It's charging with it's out of battery because I was out of town. So I can put this light, right, with there's 3 functions. One is on a stick, like a lamp. One is clamp onto your desk or on your thing, on your computer. One is this is a thing, right, magnetic thing. And on top of it, in my head right now, I can it just sucks in sucks in like that. It's like a ball. And yeah, so I can use this as my headlight. Yeah, because I just basically just stick the whole thing onto the wall, you know. So
So
that's a
I love it when your eyes just literally lit up when you're talking about your new toy. I do that too. Yeah.
that's funny. Yeah, and another lighting things I already mentioned. This is a really good one. I have some cheap ones. This one is a lumen cube, Lume, lumen cube. And this has different gauge. Also, I like these toys now. You can just plug into this USB 3 to charge. You don't need to mess around with the batteries. And this has two different colors, 5600, and then you can make it, you know, and uh, less or more or daylight or tungsten. Yeah, it can change. So they're doing very well. I did read. I read often before I buy something. I read and to see the ratings and people's comments. Yeah, and sometimes in New York City, I don't know. When you come to New York City, I'll take you to a playground. It's called B&H. B&H is like it has all the equipment of video and, you know, audio and photo. Yeah. And I go in there just like talk to people sometimes, you know, just pick their brains.
You're in the treasure land. I've never physically stepped into an age.
Anyway, yeah. So, but doesn't really matter. I think you can get cheap lighting and have a good result. So I don't think you need to be super expensive right now. The most important thing is storytelling. It doesn't really matter. You have crappy phone, crappy computer, crappy whatever. You need to craft your story. Yeah. Why someone want to hear from you,
Mhm.
right? That, yeah.
Thank you for walking us through that. There were some things that I've never even seen before, so that's really cool. And I love B&H, by the way. I didn't even know they had like an actual store. I thought it was completely online. So
Yeah.
to go there,
34th Street and 9th Avenue.
awesome. And then the other question I had for you is sound. So sound is obviously very important.
Yeah.
I know with like the filmmaking that I've seen, I've been on like sets with Dr. Chang, and he'll use like a boom mic for interviews. I'm guessing, do you use something different when collecting sound for iPhone filmmaking? And then does that, when you're doing interviews, does that deviate from the sound that you get for B-roll if you do collect sound B-roll? So yeah, if you could just walk us through that, the equipment you use and kind of the process that you
Yeah.
do.
Okay. So I would say sound, right? There's no video if they have no sound, or if you have bad sound, then you have no video, unless you use music to cover all the thing, and then all you land up as a bunch of montage. So I used this microphone for the last 3 4 years. Just love it. This is called, I gave you the list, it's called Shure MV80A, and you can just plug this in, right? If I wanted to talk, like do selfie, I towards myself. If I want to interview you, and I go like that, facing you. If I want to talk with me, interviewing you and you, so because it's a both has microphone, then I can go like that. This is just a cover for wing cover. And they also have these fuzzy like cat, whatever you call cat thingy, and when you're on the field. The important thing you need to learn an app, it's called Motiv audio. So that is come with this app. You need to learn how to use it. The great thing is that I can make the gain less or more. So if I am playing my instrument, if it's really loud, I can make it lower. Yeah. And then also the microphone is, you can have microphone for music, for talking, for small instrument, for loud instrument. So this app, you need to learn how to use it. And it really is great because when you use your smartphone to shoot without the control of audio, and you could get, you know, very, very over exposed sound, right? And then it sounds like, you know. So this is one way of doing. Sometimes when I was shooting field, I have no time. I have no time to put on microphone. I just shoot. My theory is when I shoot someone talking, I get really close to them, like 2 feet, yeah, 2 feet or closer, and the audio comes out very good, very good. And iPhone 12 is even better. iPhone 12 has amazing audio because I remember clearly I just bought iPhone 12. Then I went to filming. Andrew Yan was in Brooklyn. He was talking. The background was subway, and I just went very, very obnoxiously. I'm very obnoxious when I'm shooting. I always pick the best position. I just like, just go there and then hold my phone. Have no time put microphone on. It sound come out so clear. He was talking, but the background, all these people and subway. Yeah, very good, very good. So you can get away with just the phone. Okay, iPhone 11, iPhone 12, iPhone 13. I'm sure 13 is great. I don't have 13. I'm waiting for iPhone 14. And now interview. When I do sit down interview, I try to use microphone or lavalier. Lavalier is the best, I think, still the best. So if you can have lavalier, actually, I use Rode. Rode just came out like a year or two ago. Come out really great. Called Pro 2, 2 Pro, whatever. Yeah, it's a 2 channel, and you can click on yourself as an interviewer, and then you can give another to your person your interview, and then that you'll have really great sound. Yeah. So in my film, I didn't have lavalier. In my film, in my Young Gun Diary, I did not. So it came out pretty okay. Is because I used this one, and I sat relatively close to my subject also. Yeah. Did I answer your question, dear?
Yeah, that was excellent. I'll have to check into that mic because that looked really cool. I didn't know they made those. So, and then I think Maina had a question next.
Oh, by the way, if you go online, Amazon to buy this, there's 2 versions. Just buy the original version. It's $149. Okay, if it's not cheaper, because the other version is not directly plug in. You have to plug on dongle. You have to do this and that. I think it's too complicated.
Right. Hi, Ching. This is Maina.
Hello. Hi, Maina. So nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again. Yeah. This is just so fascinating. As you know, among the My Spy team members, I'm the most inexperienced ones. Like a few weeks ago, when I unfortunately crossed paths with you at the United Chinese Americans convention, I was just learning the very basic vocabulary, right? Like what is a B-roll and how to shoot it. And, today you answered a lot of questions about equipment, sound, and so on and so forth. So I was just wondering, earlier you mentioned about storytelling is the most critical element, right, for making a documentary or film. Would you please share with us some of the so-called grammatical rules? Like what are some storytelling techniques that you use, especially for editing like more than 300 hours of footage into a 90-minute documentary? Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well, my Young Gun Diary, the whole film, the making of my Young Gun Diary is kind of not the traditional way. Like, first of all, you write out a treatment of your documentary, how you're going to do it, and then you plan out how many people you're going to interview or what's the subject, depends. So my film, it was because I was just interested in shooting events, and it's one event after another, after another, after another. So once I sat down, watched all of these things, I have to contemplate how am I going to tell the story cohesively uh, to people who do not know what is a camping like. What are these crazy people? Why are they so passionate about this cause, right? So I think it went through many, many different stages. At the first, I was paralyzed. I did not know what to do. Yeah. And then I started to assemble and then ended up have 6 hours first version, and then trim down to 3 hours, then trim down to 2 hours, then trim down to now the version. When I first showed people the version, it was 2 hours. Was a 2021 January 4th. I remember I had a party on YouTube, and it's very different that first version. Actually, I had a lot of other people's input to make me tell my story better. They came to me, several people came to me after the first version, say, "We want to know who you are. Your film is called My Yangon Diary. Who the hell you are?" So I was like, oh, okay. So I started to actually write more voiceovers and to tie the whole piece together. Like I tell them why I was sucked in, how I was sucked in, how I did not understand this whole thing, why I slowly understand. So that it really worked, I think. So it went through the whole sort of a transformation. Yeah. So in terms of this particular film, how it is structured. But I think from writing point of view, if you want to write something from scratch or tell your story, and you first, I think you have to write. You really have to write it down. We call treatment, and then you have to visualize your story. Once you write down the language you have, someone read your treatment, they can visualize what you want to tell. Yeah. And then I said earlier, you need to think, who is your audience, who are your audiences, right? So that also helps you to tell the story. What do you say, Changfu? Mike, your mic.
You're right. And then we are going to talk about the concept. And once you have materials, I mean, before that, you start to, have idea and visually tell the story, the treatment. I keep saying it's not an editorial. We may do the same message, tell the same stories, but we are not doing editorial or doing, a text-based information, but we are going to, lay out visually how sound-wise tell the story. Yes, exactly. Okay. So thank you so much, Chim, for the amazing expertise and knowledge and experience shared with our participants here today. Then we might it's time for us to open the floor for the questions from our students and our members in online. Is that
Oh,
okay?
you know what, Changfu, before we do that, can we watch the 1 minute trailer of My Yangon Diary?
That's great. Yes.
Okay, 1 minute 44 seconds. Okay, so here we go. I think it's already.
Told you why he's different and why that's good and why it goes to the question of electability.
I am that candidate. I can build a much broader coalition to beat Donald Trump.
I grew up in Shanghai, China, and I studied violin and viola. I left home at 17, joined Chinese Army Orchestra. In those days, that was one of the best career moves for many musicians.
Show me the money! Show me the money!
UBI is freedom.
Show me what democracy looks like! Not left, not right, but forward!
That's Israel. He keep walking to another house.
Like how far are we from here? Now, you get off my fucking property. You have no right being on my fucking property. You Chinese people, go back to fucking China.
You do have to have certain like preparations in your mind.
We want Yang! We want Yang!
I wrote it. It's Andrew Yang.
This is not the end.
You brought me back from being too far gone.
Okay. Yay. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Oh yeah, we become horizontal now. And so yeah, Changfu, you were saying have student. We have someone here doesn't have an image, so I did not bring Emir. Emerie.
Yeah.
Emir. Should I bring Emir up?
Yeah, she is one of our student panelists.
Okay. Should I bring her? Can you please show your face? Emir?
I can try, but I don't know if my camera's gonna work.
Oh,
that's okay. I think if Amory has a question, she can ask it.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I guess my question is like, well, for one thing, like, how long did it take you to film on your phone? And like, do you feel like it would be better to have like a more newer sort of phone, or does it not matter?
Oh, newer phone. No, I'm very happy with the iPhone 11. Still to this day, I'm happy, and I don't need a newer phone. It doesn't matter. The matter is whatever you have. You use whatever you have right now to tell the story. And I think storytelling takes a while to make it moving, and you have to move yourself first, and then you can move somebody else. So not that I make myself so great. Every time I watch my film, I still kind of, like get very emotional. So yeah. Wait, your first question is tell me one more time.
Oh, sorry. My first question was how long did it take?
Oh yeah. How long does it take? I started to film the movement May of 2019, and then all the way through June 2020. So it's about a year. Yeah. And I followed Andrew Yang even when he suspend his campaign. I still also I voted at the primary. So I went to voting booth, shoot myself voting for Andrew Yang, knowing he's on the ballot, but he's not, the Democrat, the winner of the Democrat, right? Biden was. So yeah, so I still did. So it tied all the story together. Yeah. So the shooting is about a year. Editing is about 8 months. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for your question.
Great. Alina?
What type of editing program did you use along with filming on your iPhone? Was it like very low budget or?
Very good question. When I do journalistic video, like say Black Lives Matter or many protests, I went and I like the first substantial one I remember I did was Women's March 2017. I went just with my iPhone 7, I think iPhone 7, and then because I need the material come out quicker, I like to use iMovie on my phone. So I edited many videos on my iMovie. But for my Yangon Diary, I had to export all the footage and then put into external hard drive. If you want to see, those are my external hard drive.
Oh.
I love them. Look at the messiness. So anyway, and then I edited on Final Cut Pro 10.
Oh.
So I'll tell the story of Final Cut. It's very interesting, I think. Well, I have been fiddling around video camera for a long time, like I said to you, right? And I had no idea what to do with it. I just do it like an instinct, feeling, like just no study, no education. Like someone can play music, without education, right? They can still play. So finally, at 2008, I was like, okay, let me go get some education. So I enrolled to NYU and studied a crash course. Yeah. So there it really puts me into a very good direction, from writing to that lighting to audio to tell story. And then they introduce us to use how to use a Final Cut. Those days, Changfu, I don't know if you know, I remember it's a Final Cut Express those days. Express.
Yeah.
So it was so expensive, like $2,000. $2,000 the software. So but we can buy it through NYU for $300. So I learned Final Cut from the course, but it's a crash course, right? They're not going to teach you every step away. So I would go to Apple Store every single day. In those days, Apple Store have courses. You can sign up with them. You can learn anything. They have a schedule. Final Cut. 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 12 o'clock. So you just go sign up. So I learned my whole Final Cut spiel from Apple Store. Now I'm using Final Cut 10. Yeah.
Well, inspirational story. Wish I had you. I taught that course for so many years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, Final Cut move on to Final Cut 10 Express, and we, migrated to Apple, like this, in the media composer and media composer.
Oh,
Avid. Yeah, we moved to Avid.
Oh, Avid. Yeah. That's great. I'm still, pretty old fashioned, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have a super crash course in the next 2 classes. Premiere Pro. Really just gonna be intro, but it's really not that hard to learn to get started. So I'm wondering if Akshay, you have any question, and then we'll move to Jonathan. We do have a couple audience questions from YouTube.
Sure. Specifically about like text scenes, like when do you think it's most like useful and important to include like a scene with solely text in your film?
I don't understand the question. Sorry. Text.
Like I guess like beyond title screens, I guess excuse me, but when you just include the scene with only text, like what kind of text would you say would be relevant? Like how would it help your documentary?
Oh yeah, text. Text is super important. Super. It leads my audience to the story without me saying anything, without any audio. Or I think sometimes you just need those silent caption. Say when NGN did not make it to one of the debate, I would just use this like a very dynamic text goes, like that. And he did not make it. Like in a few seconds, instead of me telling people he did not make it. And because it's a diary, I have to use text. Everywhere I go, I have dates. Oh, by the way, you guys, you better watch my film, okay? You better go watch my film. It's on Vimeo on demand. And so let me put it out. You know that. And so it's very date driven, location driven, my whole piece. Yeah. Text is very important. And to write text on it, and also it's very complicated. You have to label this person who is talking, where he's from, where she's from, right? What name, what title, right? I said, okay, so I just ended up saying Ching Juhl, New York young guy, instead of saying this is a musician, this is a filmmaker. It's too complicated, So I just label them young guy. So you have to put the position in the right way, not clash on each other, right? And so good question. I spend so much time to put the right text, right fonts, right size to decide what to do. Yeah. And it can be very powerful when you do it right. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Finally, Jonathan. Jonathan?
Hi. So my internet might be a little laggy. So if I'm lagging out, sorry guys. So, but can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
So my question is just for the interviews. How did you decide like which parts of the audio to like cut out from the final film? And if so, did you like talk with the interviewee to make sure like you're not
You're cutting. Your last sentence cut out. You said, can you rephrase your last sentence, dear?
I'm sorry, my Wi-Fi might be a little laggy because
Oh,
from
okay.
my end, like everyone's
Yeah.
a little slow. So my question was just, how did you decide like which parts of the interview audio to cut out, like not put in the final film? And like, did you check with the person you interviewed to make sure like you weren't distorting what they had to say and make sure you're not like putting words in their mouth?
Oh,
to speak?
yeah. Yeah. Very good question. I basically don't have time to read, so maybe Shingo, you take
Yeah.
care of. I don't
Yeah.
have time. All right. Well, again, I'm shameless. I just hold my phone and start to interview people. I don't even have clipboard says, "Can you sign the release form?" Of course, I do not recommend you to do that. I interview so many people. First of all, I do not try not to make people look bad. Like, so when I cut their talking, of course, it will make them to make a good sentence or make them look good, right? I would not intentionally look them bad. And it is ideally you should transcribe all your text, all your talking. Then you can look at them and then you can cut. Yeah. Because I know the material really well, because remember, every event I went, I already made each video. They're edited, So I already know these people. I interviewed so many people and I kind of feel like I know them. So in the end, I did not use that much interview. Not that much. Yeah, very selective. Their interview has to be so cohesive with the scene before or after, because the whole 90-minute has to be really tight, right? I don't have time. So, but everybody can still go on to my YouTube channel, Jewel Media, and all the old interview is all there. So people can watch each person talk about 10 to 20 minutes, and they can still watch that. So to answer your question, I didn't have to really run into problem of like distorting their message, or they come back to me. Once I decided who's talking I will use, then I trace them down. The good thing is they are young again. They're not people on the streets that I don't know, right? So I trace them down, then I had them sign the release form. Yeah.
Great. So we do have a couple audience questions. Knowing that we only have 1 minute left, I'll probably just ask the first one because I think the second one can be answered with what you already talked about at the beginning of this, basically whether you had a pre-planning, pre-production kind of planning. I guess the answer in short is no, but you kind of grew into it. The other question we have is from Jeff. Did you use a gimbal or a gimbal-like equipment? And, aside from tripods or just a rig, something, I guess, looking more like this,
Yeah.
not as big for a smartphone.
Yeah, thank you. Gimbals. I remember I got gimbal like 3 years ago from my son as a birthday present. It was just too heavy for me. Now the gimbals are much lighter. So when I shot my Yangon Diary, I did not use gimbal. It's 85% handheld. I can handheld my camera for a long time without moving. So this has to do with I think practice. Yeah, I practice, and I have a way of making myself like a tree. When I'm in the outdoor, I will stabilize myself against the wall, against a lightning pole. Yeah, I put my arm against myself, and so I have my way of shooting like a gimbal. But that doesn't mean you should not use gimbal. Yeah, yeah. My next project, I would use gimbal, but that one I did not. So, thank you.
Yeah, I guess back to Changfu and Ching to wrap it up.
Thank you, Ching, for this information field session. And again, I myself learned a lot because I haven't produced a film anything with cell phone. And again, on behalf of our, my five team and our students and our community, thank you for your time. And I know we'll come up with very good programs that will make impact. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to show, excuse me. Is it okay just to extend for 2 minutes? Can we watch your trailer?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And we have time. Yes.
Tell us about your film, please.
Right, thank you.
Changfu, tell us your film about
Sure.
Silent Wall.
Okay. And so the trailer, right? Should we watch it now? And
Okay. Okay.
It's then we can just like explain a little bit. Allison, you can watch. You can play the trailer. Can you?
Yeah, I can play your trailer
play your
right
trailer,
here. Yeah.
他才40岁啊，那时候是吧？你怎么都想不到。
It felt like someone had just severed my arm, kind of like that feeling of loss. We didn't really have suspicions of his mental illness until I became sick.
他会突然冲到街上去，不管那个街上面的车是怎么开，他完全已经没有理智了。
Much after he had passed, right? My grandpa would tell them, like, "Oh, you know, he's well, like he's doing okay. He's living with his wife and daughter in the States." That just shows how deep rooted the stigma, in our culture, in our community, really is.
Things got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore, and I tried to take my own life. And they asked me why, like, how could I feel this way when I have everything that they've given me, when I have a house to live in, when I have clothes to put on, when I have food to eat.
我的兄弟，如果妈妈以前有什么对不起、做什么对你不好的地方，请你原谅妈妈。只要你肯跟我说话，肯告诉我为什么，我会去改。
After I heard them say that they loved me, I started crying. I was just feeling like very loved and seen for the first time in like a long time.
美国小孩他不理解我们当父母做父母的对他那种爱是藏在心里的。
那从来都是一个禁忌的话题，就大家都避而不谈的嘛。
I try to bring up mental health with my friends whenever I can. I try to tell them, you're not alone. This is very common,
就是我们这样讲出来，也是帮助别的个家庭，帮助别的患者。 然后大家共同来面对这个问题。
I just want to share my story because I don't want anyone else to feel like they have to suffer in silence.
Wow. Bravo. Bravo. That's so powerful.
Yeah, thanks. I think that we are on the same school, kind of like a old school way of telling authentic stories. And this is a community-based project to save lives because we are really having this national mental illness crisis. It is particularly so in the Asian American community. So I just want to, for the first time, really, to do a major documentary feature to create a multi-layered program, a piece to address this issue, to raise heightened awareness, to find hope and help.
Yeah, indeed. That's a great subject. And, mental health has been talked more than ever now, because years ago, people are afraid of talk about it, right? Now, either the patient or family or filmmaker like you would touch such subject. So, yeah, this is very very important to talk about. If you look around, especially pandemic actually affected so many people. Even people normal are become unnormal, right? So not to mention people already suffer from depression or other depression related mental health. So I'm totally with you, because I actually battle for depression for many years. Yeah, so when I saw your trailer, I was like, oh my god, so wonderful job. And you guys, thank you so much. And Shinga, Emily, Ashka, Ali, Meina, Jonathan, and Emery. Yeah, thank you so much for having me and to have this conversation. We can do it again if you want to.
Thank you for having us. Great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chang.
Yeah. So go watch
Thanks
my
to all
film,
the
okay?
students.
My Young Gun Diary. Don't
Yeah.
forget to go
Yeah.
watch.
Okay.
I think you need to watch it, and then you will see, how I did this, and we
Yeah.
can talk about maybe some other time. That what do you do with this scene, And so, yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great.
All right. So have a great rest of the Sunday, and I'll see you. Hopefully, I would love to see your work. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye bye.
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 再见。拜拜。I say goodbye.